The ministerial committee set up to investigate GIDA indict 3 government officials for what it calls some lack of transparency in the award of contracts.
It is only fair that you allow the president time to study the report and take appropriate action. You must also understand that governance is a bit more complex than just pandering to media reports and commentary run by persons outside government. It is important that things are done properly, and therefore it is a bit unfortunate that people are attempting to stampede governments into taking action on a report that has been received barely a week ago. The president has given clear indication of what subsequent actions would follow, and I think that will suffice for.
The report names the former Youth and Sports Minister Clement Kofi Humado, Abu Kapele, a former coordinator of GIDA, and the Chief Director at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Alhaji Abdullah Yakubu. I'll be speaking to Abu Kapele, the former coordinator, to find out exactly what he makes of the report. And don't forget that the show is brought to you by Blue Rose Limited, Shelter for All, and Star Life Assurance. Let me right away go to the phone lines. Abu Kapele is a former coordinator of GIDA. Thanks so much for staying there for us. Now, first of all, you might have heard the report which indicates that 3 persons, including you, to be held responsible for certain issues relating to contract. First of all, tell us, when it comes to contract award with GIDA, what are the processes?
What are
the processes involved?
Normally, when somebody has a proposal to, but before I go on, let me state that I haven't read the report, and as far as I know, His Excellency is yet to make any public detailed exposure of the report.
Right.
I'm agreeing to pass these few comments because I heard on air while I was coming from the constituency that 3 persons, officials including me, had been indicted for, in my particular, for certain actions.
Right.
In my particular case, it stated that I had signed, I had witnessed some of these contracts.
Right. Once you had resigned, exactly.
Yeah, and then also that we had paid money, or I had paid money to a consultant for no work done.
Right.
So I'll just touch on this briefly because I do not even know whether they are part of the report or it's just conjecture or some speculation.
Right, it's not. It's part of the report which we have.
I haven't seen the report and the president has not stated that it's been made public. I'm a bit hesitant to talk about it, but let me just say briefly that with regard to the first accusation, it's true that once you step in as a public servant to stand elections, you ought to resign from your position, which I did. But you will recall that the president indicated that all those who were heads of state agencies and institutions, CEOs and so forth, should stay on until the president gave a definite instruction as to what should be done. So I consulted the ministry, and they asked that I stay on while they find out whether this affected the chief executive or the executive director of GIDA also, or it was limited to just the ministers.
Right.
So while I was at it, of course, it then meant that I was still responsible for the program. So some of these contracts had been done while I was in the constituency busy campaigning. So once the president had asked that we stay on, they were brought to me for witnesses, which I did, because I was then the head of the program in principle. So I had to witness them. But let me also say that some of the statement again that we paid money to a consultant called Goodwill Company without any work being done. I think that probably if a little more questioning had been done, if I had been questioned by the committee on this particular issue, I probably would have explained in more detail. Because I know that there's no way we can pay money to a consultant without any work done. And the consultant in question, Goodwill, had a partnership or framework contract with NDPI, which is a government consultancy firm agency. under Minister of Manpower and Employment. So what we were dealing with was, in effect, we're dealing with MDPI and Goodwill, because we realized that that was a government agency. We had invited them to help us streamline some of the processes within the NYEP, because we realized that they had expertise which we didn't have. So the contract did not specifically state that we were going to pay them a certain amount. We had invited them to help us streamline the processes. And if there were any expenditure involved, they submit the bill for letter payment, because we didn't even have the money to pay them. So payments were made in installments on some of the activities that they had pre-financed and carried out. For instance, they had gone around the country with regards to the World Bank project. We needed to submit a proposal before the World Bank can even consider whether they will need to deal with us in assisting us.
Right.
So they went around the country. We picked beneficiaries in every district throughout this country. These people were brought together at the regional levels, and the MDPI and Goodwill had to go around and train these people, submit questionnaire, show them the modalities for them to collect information about the district potential of each district, so that this culminated in what was the proposal, which was then submitted to the World Bank. Now, we have been accused of having paid money when the World Bank money was actually not approved.
Right.
And that the World Bank was not dealing with individuals, but was dealing with beneficiaries. It didn't deal through consultants. We have not said the money had been given to NYEP to be put into our account. Even in the implementation phase, from what the World Bank indicated, each youth who had been selected to be given support to carry out a business or a trade, all these proposals will be put together and sent to the World Bank for approval in each case. So each individual will be considered on its merit. We never at any time stated that the money was in our account. If anybody has an idea of what was minimum idea of what the World Bank told us, they don't send the money in bulk to your account for you to spend. They approve the process of now working towards accessing the fund. So by the time I left office, they had even written a letter to us asking the ministry to apply for the preparatory fund between 3 and 5 million. Now, if we didn't have that explicit approval for us to begin the process of accessing the fund, why would they write to us to ask us for some amount? So the consultant's role was to see which external source we can find funding, do the necessary collation of data across the country, put together the proposal which we submitted to the World Bank, which even led to the beginning of the negotiation and arrangement towards accessing the fund. So it's not even correct to say that the World Bank did not approve anything and we lied, because there are letters and documents to show. We have held more than 10 meetings with the World Bank officials. In fact, I had participated in about 4. The ministry had, even as the report was being compiled, this committee report was being compiled,
right,
the ministry was still meeting the World Bank on the GIDA funding. So this consultant and MDPI had pre-financed all this work that we call, culminated in what we call the proposal, for which they submitted a bill. And now, when they submitted the bill, I did not just go ahead and pay. We submitted this to the ministry for approval, scrutiny, and authorization before any PESWA is paid to the consultant. But if you look at the news item that came out, it will look like I just got up, signed an amount of $2.3 million and give to somebody who was hardly even known or had done no work.
So you're saying that the proper procedure was used?
Yes, I think that we use the proper procedure. For instance, anytime we needed a consultant to help us on a particular issue, for instance, help us with this, our new source of funding, the new financial framework for NYEP, we engaged somebody. The person went and helped us. He came out with a draft statement, which we submitted to the ministry. Normally, and the payment for such work will normally be submitted in a memo form to the ministry for scrutiny, approval before any PESWA is paid out to anybody. In fact, I never paid money to anyone without authorization. So it came rather as a surprise.
As a surprise to you.
I think that, hello?
Go ahead.
I think that we need to be patient for His Excellency to come out with what they want to do with the report, the white paper, and so forth. And then when there's more explanation to do, probably, I think they will give us the opportunity to explain. The consultant might also bring in the details of everything that led to the payments, whatever payments were made to him, the check numbers, what led to it, what bills were submitted, whether MDPI was involved or not, because we thought we were dealing with a government consultancy, and therefore we did not have any fear that they were cheating. So I don't think that MGPI and Goodwill are just any consultant that we paid money to without any work done.
And
so
this is a little you can say, but your claim, for instance, that you had to witness those contracts because you had just gotten off that position because you had to vie for election. Is that a normal process?
I didn't say that. Let me be very clear on that.
Right, go ahead.
I said I did witness some of the contracts because normally after they've been signed by the ministry, they'll be brought for the national coordinator to witness. So these ones, I think, were done while I was away in the constituency.
Right.
So when I came back, they were brought to me to witness. That was the time. Remember, I had indicated that I had written my resignation letter, I had prepared my handover notes, and I was about to leave.
Right.
But due to the instruction issued from government, from the president, that we should stay on until further instructions were given, I felt that I could not just leave and go. I had to continue working because if I left and anything went wrong in my absence, it would be like I disobeyed express instruction from our head, the president. So I stayed on, and it's under those conditions that I witnessed these contracts.
And
so it's true I had submitted my handover notes, and I was ready to leave, and therefore I had resigned because once you enter to contest elections, as a public, the rules require that you resign before you can go in to contest elections. Which I did.
Yes, which you did. And of course, the result is what the committee is saying, that they think something might have happened on the wrong side. How do you take it?
Yeah, I take it in good faith. What I'm saying is that if they had probably questioned me further on this particular issue, I would have explained, and they can easily verify from government whether there was any such statement that all of us should stay on until further instructions were given. In any case, subsequently I left because the ministry had written to me, and I have a copy of that letter, which stated that I should leave because the chief director will now take charge. So
right.
There, I had the grounds on which to leave the place.
And so, for instance, the committee's report that says that the contract was signed between 12 December 2012 and 31st December 2012. At which time did you leave?
I can't give the date exactly, but I left after 5th of January, around 15th, thereabout. Then I received a letter from the chief director, so I had to finally wash my hands off the program.
How would you also react to the same report that says that under your tenure there was a lapse in effective management of the models under GIDA?
Yeah, you see, a cursory look at the process can easily come to this conclusion. But if you look at the situation in which I had to manage the program, many people who are close to the program will appreciate the challenges. One, you were dealing with a situation where the personnel were already engaged before you came to the program, and they were not engaged for particular professional purposes. People were engaged because probably they held a degree or they had qualification, but it did not relate directly to certain processes that needed to happen. For instance, we had a finance officer. He did his best. He was a good finance officer, but he hadn't the professional qualification for that particular position. We didn't even have advice. We didn't have administrator, somebody who could even write letters to enable the head get a bit of relief. We didn't even have people who will go through, professionals who will go through these proposals for you so that the work can be easy and do it in a summary form so that you can work on. And to consider the fact that you were dealing with beneficiaries who often were not paid, and the office was always inundated by people wanting to know why they were not paid or their pay was short or something. It was almost impossible. So in a situation like that, all I had to do is to work hard and make do with the resources that were available. So I quite agree there were some areas where some other management understanding or process could have been better. But the situation, and also to consider the fact that when we came on, nothing was structured. You know, the program was launched in 2006. Between 2006 and 2009, nothing had been structured with clear design rules and offices and positions and mandate of individual officers. All this was not done. We didn't even have an office. not to even talk of logistics and so forth. So you had to put, it was, after we studied the program for about 2 years, we then started the process of restructuring the program, gave proposals for a new system of funding, wrote a provisional bill to enable the program be encased in some form of legislation. It was not an easy task.
And how hard did you work? Judging from what you told us, what were some of the areas?
I cannot judge myself, but I think that if you ask those who were familiar, those who got a bit closer to the program, probably they are the best judges of how hard I worked.
And you also claim that there were certain areas that you think, in terms of effective management, something could have been done to improve it. Would you want to share those areas with us?
Yes, maybe I can share those areas with you in more detail at another opportunity.
But I think we have the chance now.
I indicated many of them in my handover notes to the Honorable Minister.
But I think we have the chance to share those areas.
Yeah, for instance, it was proper that we had a board, so that the board sitting up there can serve as a sounding board. They can advise, they can take policy decisions, and that will make the work of the head a bit easier. Some of the decisions that you took, if we had another body up there that was charged with the responsibility of re-examining them, probably a lot of mistakes could have been avoided. We also needed an internal auditor. We didn't even have an entity board. Every procurement that we did had to be done in the ministry. So there were quite a lot. For instance, we didn't even have legislation. So if you went and you tried to get any money from any agency, what the reference they made was, where is the mandate that said you should come and take part of the money from the funding source? We did not even have well-tailored personnel suitable for certain key official activities. And I hadn't the power to hire or fire anybody.
And that was quite difficult.
At management level, I didn't have that power. So it was quite a bit challenging, I must say. But I'm not holding brief. I'm not giving excuses because we failed. If we failed, I did my best to try to solve certain problems that it made. Probably my best wasn't enough, of course. But I think that the personnel who were at the management level and the staff worked really very hard. There was a time one of them worked to the extent of even collapsing in the office. That is how far I pushed them to work. So I think that there were many recommendations. For instance, I decided also that we should shift from this beneficiary monthly payments to emphasize more on business and enterprise models. I urge that we review more of the exit plans and make them more concrete. We should reduce the number of beneficiaries that each model recruited, so that the monitoring team, which I call for a restructuring, can properly understand and monitor them, and then each region will know who is where and who is working at what. We started the issue of biometric payments, which was experimented alongside Zoomlion in the Eastern region. We decided that as of this year, from 2013, we had put a network system in place in all offices in the country to start biometric registration. All beneficiaries were to re-register so that we can know exactly how many people are on the program.
Okay.
All designed to eliminate these ghost names. So there's quite a lot that we can actually discuss.
And from what the report has come out with, the fact that the report is talking about what we have, is talking about a lot of discrepancies, malfeasance, you think that this program should be maintained by government?
Yes, I think that I've been saying it and I will say it again. As a nation, we have no option but to have some system that takes care of that number of young people who have completed school but have nowhere to go. Because we've taken the lead. In the whole world, countries are beginning to put those systems, those mechanisms in place. We have taken the lead. In spite of the challenges that we are encountering, the problems, what we need to do is to research, see how we can overcome these challenges and push ahead, because we are more or less an African leader or a world leader in this youth employment process. To go back and scrape it and start again, because we have no choice, one day or the other we still have to come back to it. So I think that it doesn't lie in scraping the program, but it lies rather in addressing the issues that beset the program, cleaning them, have a clean slate, be more scientific, more serious with the management issues, address them holistically, look at other sources of funding, structure the sources of funding in such a way that it is more reliable, so that planning can be done alongside those availability of resources.
Right.
So
now,
that we have the program
running. Right. Yeah. So how do you react to the call by a section of the public that those officials who are found to have engaged in some kind of malfeasance should be punished?
Yeah, because we have no choice. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, if you engage in any malfeasance, the law is clear. The law is very clear. There's nothing you can do about it.
They should be punished.
Yes, we should. All of us, if there is anybody who has engaged in malfeasance, the law prescribes the appropriate punishment, and there is nothing anybody can do about it.
Right. Thank you so much, Abuga Pele, a former coordinator of the then National Youth Employment Program, now GYDA, Ghana Youth Entrepreneurial Development. JC, talking about exactly what is in the report that Joy News has in its packets, and of course we'll be telling you more about what is in the report, and of course the call by a section of the public to have those implicated punished. Let's listen to what Ghana is saying about those who have been mentioned as engaging in some malfeasance in the report. Let's watch.
The right thing must be done. They have to check, they have to send them to court. If really they are guilty about it, then they have to retrieve our money for us. Then if they have to be jailed. It's not that they will retrieve the money and left them just like that. After they retrieve the money, they should send them to they should jail them so that it will set an example for others to pass through. If not like that, they will say, okay, fine. If I also do the same thing, all what they will do is they will retrieve the money from me later. They will leave me.
We don't have enough money to, invest in certain sectors of the economy. So if people have been found out this way, I think the best thing to do is you have to investigate it, and they can refund the funds, and they should be put to law. The law should speak. They should be put to justice. It's simple. Right.
I think whoever has misused any money, has misappropriated any money, should be taken to the court, and when found guilty, should be prosecuted. I think that is the best way, so that it will serve as a lesson to any other person who has any intention of misappropriating government funds.
So with the guys who have embezzled the money, I believe some of them should be made to refund the money, or maybe in prison. They should be in prison so that it will serve as a deterrent to other people.
That money belongs to the state, and to me, the punishment they should take the money from them. After that, they have to send them to prison. And I've heard the president is hiding the whole stuff. He don't want to publish it. To me, if the president can do something about it, he should publish it.
Anybody who falls under the GYDA report is supposed to be punished, because that money is supposed to be used to open up big-time businesses in this country for we the youth to have work to do. Because someone can complete university there and he will be working along, going just for work anywhere, but at the end of the day, she will be coming into the house at the end of the day without any work, any certificate. You get me? So the best thing is for you sentence them to jail. Anybody, no matter how you are, no matter you be MP, you be who, should be sentenced.
Well, the president is looking at the report, and at the appropriate time, the action will be taken on what exactly is in the report. But this is what we have, and we'll be getting you more of those reports. But a lot more of you have gotten to us via Facebook on the social media platform. Let me quickly get here and read some of them to you as to the question we asked as to what should happen to those found to have engaged in some kind of malfeasance in the report. And Kennedy Asarbequin says they should pay back the monies and later go to prison to face their punishment there. And then Junior Joseph Yankson says they should be jailed. Dachi Hine or Sebunsu, you want them to be sent to Antwerp for justice. Well, I wonder what exactly that could be. You want them to go and face Antwerp Nyama. Well, and then Ruben Griffiths Beckwith says transparency in Ghana is very opaque. I think that's what you want to write. They should be questioned. And then KK Fosu, Ghana no we snake up. You should just kill it and stop appointing committee. KK, you are trying to write something I hardly can read. And then Nana Frimpong says there's nothing Muhammad can do because he's on his way out. And sorry, be civil when you're writing these things, please. And then Jamiri Casino says persecuted, create, loot and share people. And then Boshaba Prince, if only they have a hand in it, then they must be prosecuted in order to help Muhammad's government to continue the mission of ensuring value for money. And then Jerry Upon JB says, as usual, nothing will be done. Edith Johnson, they should be dealt according to what the law says. The rate of corruption peddling with this government is too much. That is what you want to say. And then Osunu Nana Eja Kawudia, the president himself have questions to answer. But first of all, those people should be arraigned before the fast-track High Court. And then Agbedienu Constance Kwame Dela, they have to refund the monies and lose their ranks. They can't embezzle our money just like that. Now, Jung Yang Chung, well, I wonder if you're Chinese in Ghana. No only jailed, their assets should also be seized. And then Joshua Supreme Force, they should be made to answer the questions. And then Benjamin Asari, bring those responsible of bad practices to question and punish them accordingly. Just set the record straight. No one is above the law. Ghana need to take the right course in order to achieve success. The no-nonsense approach. That is what you suggest. And then Nyona Tokwame Nathaniel said they should tell the public how they embezzled the money, but the so-called disciplinary committee are untrusted. That's what you want to say. Northern Governor thinks we demand the outstand of this Northern Ghana governor. Well, really don't get what you want to say. Now, Isaac Boache Mahama himself is part of this kick. The best way is to remove them from power. And then Kosidi Atipo, oh, not again. Insian Isaac said they should be asked to pay the money back with 100% interest rate. Ghanaians will be very disappointed in them if they have a hand in such shameful acts. And then Benjamin Asari says people should stop the naiveties by pointing fingers at the president. He didn't ask them to behave the way they did. So please be sensible what you post on here. Well, you're just cautioning people. And then Osman Abdul Salam says, I think you should let them pay the said monies and go home. And then Atim Monday Beneza, 10-year imprisonment, no mercy for them. And Rafik Shaibu, Isaac Boache, whatever you call it, so Rafik is veering off what we're talking about. And then now Oseko says they have set this committee to cover their wrongdoing. Our tax is being used for chop or chop make a chop. God help us. And then Anafo Iwinzo Karim says equality before the law. They must suffer it if found guilty. And then Asuma Kwabena, money space should be refunded by the government officials. Joseph Che wants prosecution, of course, and then Nyako Alfred, they should be held accountable of any monies they have chopped and they should be jailed. And then Abdul Razak, Abdul Jalil, you said you're a beneficiary of JIDA and you are saying that to me they should be jailed with hard labor cause monkey no go work, then baboon they chop. I mean, we can't be on the field working and they will just be in the office enjoying our money. I learned we are to be paid 350 Ghana cedis and we are paid 115 Ghana cedis. Why is that Ghanaians don't have pity on their fellow Ghanaians? If the government don't do anything to them, God will surely do. And Ebenezer PK Esua says the law is like the spider's web where only small insects get caught in it. Has the government shown any seriousness in abetting and prosecuting his corrupt officials, even those who sat down and carefully planned and created, looted and shared state funds are still working and living freely in this country? This then won't go anywhere. Is it not Ghana and Mohammed's government that they inside? Well, that is what you think. But the president said that definitely is going to look at the report and make sure that action is taken on what is in the report. We'll have more on this very particular report, and you got to stay right here on the Joy News channel. We'll tell you more on what is in the report. The show was brought to you by Blue Rose Limited, Shelter for All, and Star Life Assurance. We'll have more on the channel later on. My name is Bright Nanaf. Have a good evening, and see you later on.